Will Morales from Black Film and TV talking to Lance Gross regarding his return to the House of Pain. Did you ever think back that you would come and reprise this role again?
You know what? I always expected to, just because of the fans. You know what I mean? No matter how much work I did in between House of Pain, the fans would always ask me about Calvin, and Tyler left a big cliffhanger in the season, the series finale. So yeah, people were unsatisfied. So I felt like Tyler would do it sooner or later.
So so let's talk now. Like, for those who have not caught up and who maybe have not heard of the show, where are you with your character now?
You know, Calvin is still the same old Calvin. I mean, he's grown a little bit. He has children. So he's come a long way, because when you were first introduced to Calvin Payne, he was living with his family. He had been in college for 7 years. Now he's married, going through a divorce. So yeah, it's a lot of drama surrounding Calvin, but you know, Tyler Perry has a good way of bringing the comedy out of the drama. So yeah, it's a lot.
Now, how did this come about in terms of like, I'm going to bring everybody back? Or, you know, did you get the call first? Did you hear rumblings?
You know, Tyler's funny because he'll always have somebody call out for fillers, you know, so I don't know who got the call first, but you know, it's funny because when we do get the calls, the cast members, we all call each other because we're like family. Like we're all on text or call each other or see each other. So everybody's like, well, did Tyler call you? Yeah, he called me. Did he call you? So it's one of those type of things. And then you ask, like, are you in? And, you know, everybody wants to work with each other. So it's fun.
You know, and then shooting, did you shoot during the pandemic or was it before that?
We finished before the pandemic. Yeah. And Tyler, you know, he shoots everything super fast. So I think we did maybe 2 months, but we finished everything before the pandemic. So we were lucky.
Now, obviously, you know, you have since gone on to do other projects. You know, how's working on other projects different from Tyler? Obviously, when you work on Tyler and you're able to shoot as many episodes as you can in a short amount of time frame, compared to doing a movie, which takes about the same time frame, or an episode here or there, you know, what is the, like, do you find it that like the Tyler shooting schedule has made it possible for you to do other work? Like, oh, okay, it's like theater in a way. Like,
it kind of it makes other work not easy, but it's just different. You know what I mean? Tyler kind of trains you for, like, you get 2 takes. That's it. You might get 2. You probably get 1 take on an average.
You know,
but working for Tyler is more like a reunion, kind of just working for your family. You know.
And then obviously, so let's talk about this cast. Obviously, as you mentioned, it's family. You know, what's it like? It's one thing when you're talking to each other, but now you get to see each other again, like it's back to work 8 years later.
Yeah, it's more, and it's crazy. It's not even like work. It's more like play, because, you know, we have so much fun when this cast is on the set together. It's like we catch up and we do our work and tell jokes in between. So it's kind of like, it's just a good time, you know? So we really enjoy shooting the House of Pain.
You know, the show has the record for having the most episodes ever for a show with a predominantly African-American cast. And obviously you're going to continue that record because I don't think anybody else can break it at this point right now, the way TV is. You know, what's it like knowing that you have been on TV for such a long period of time, week after week, as opposed to like a streaming series where everything's all in one take, one episode after the other, whereas you've got week after week time for an audience to know who you are.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing, man. I just feel very fortunate to be in the situation that I'm in. House of Pain made history with his first pickup. The first pickup for TBS at the time was 100 episodes. So, I mean, and we did 100 episodes I think we did it in 9 months, which is unheard of, you know? So just to have that content and that material out there in syndication, it's a blessing. I'll say it again, you know? Tyler has great messaging, you know, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Now, how have you grown? Obviously, you know, the world got to see you grow up with this series, and
Mhm.
obviously you went off to do different things in 8 years, and now you're back. But as an actor for yourself, you know, how have you grown? You know, like, do you have, do you take the scripts more? I won't say seriously. It's like, are you able to talk and collaborate with Tyler and the writers? You know, to have a say with the characters. You know, what has the show done for you as an actor?
Um, you know, I think I've grown tremendously. I'm still growing, and as an actor, that's what you do. You study the craft. You never stop learning. Um, with Tyler, you know, the situation of shooting so fast, it's kind of like, I always call it like a boot camp, because you have to break down your scripts in record time. You got to memorize that in record time. But the good thing is, you know, we've been doing the show for so long, you know the character. I know my character better than anyone, you know what I mean? So uh as far as input, Tyler, you know, he writes his own scripts. He always has the scripts done. But then when we get on set, that's our time to voice. Like, you know, I don't think Calvin would say it like this. Can I try this? And he's very open to that. So it's a good working situation. Yeah. So I think it's prepared me just for, you know, on other productions, I have a little bit more time. So this is kind of like the speed round when I'm working with Tyler. And then when I go to other sets, I could kind of like, you know, really dive in.
Hmm. As you mentioned earlier, Calvin's going to go through a divorce. So, what potential love interest do we see down the road? Who are we expecting to see on the show?
See, I don't know if I could give anything away. Calvin and Miranda, they're trying to work it out. I'll say that. But yeah, there is a time when Calvin is in this dating. I can't give too much away. I'll let you guys watch, and yeah,
You know,
it's interesting.
have you caught up with the other shows that Tyler has done? You know, you guys were almost the first. Now he's launched a series of a bunch of shows.
Yeah, man, Tyler, it's so many to keep up with, man. Assistant Living, I watched that because it comes on right after House of Pain. Uh, I've seen The Oval. I've seen, man, he got so much. Sisters. Yeah, I keep up with what I can.
Hmm. And in the 8 years, obviously, that you walked away, you know, you've done other projects that I've seen you in. I know one of them I was supposed to see it, but didn't happen. Dutch. Talk to me about Dutch and how much fun was it playing that role in the lead?
Well, you know what? It was an experience. I really don't know what's going on with Dutch, like when it's coming out or anything. I don't have too much information, but you know, the novel Dutch, you know, it's 3 novels, you know, so it's very entertaining. Very entertaining. It was yeah, it was a trip.
You know, so outside, you know, the beauty about what you mentioned earlier, that Tyler shoots fast, gives you the opportunity to do other projects, you know, because normally, obviously, when you're doing a TV series, you're committed for
Absolutely.
a long run. But when
Absolutely.
Tyler's schedule is like, hey, you can say I can do this in 2 months, you
Yeah.
know, to something
Yeah.
else, you know. So do we see you in anything else coming up down the road?
Well, it's, you know, while I was working on this season of House of Pain, I had to leave early to do Hawaii 5-0, which is now no more. But yeah, I mean, he Tyler, he controls the boat. You know, he's the captain of the boat. So he rearranged the schedule so I could go to Hawaii and start filming. So he did all my coverage, all my scenes, and knocked it out. You know, Tyler's very good at that.
Hmm. And obviously, you know, until everybody gets to come out and see each other again, how have you been keeping up throughout this whole time period?
You know, I look at this time period as a blessing, you know, because I'm always working in different cities, maybe 6 months at a time, always on a plane. It's always work, just go. But this is kind of like God's way of just forcing everyone to reset and be still. And, you know, it's been all about family time for me. I've been creating projects, which always had the excuse of being too busy to sit down and write. But, you know, it's been a blessing in a sense where I can do all that. So, you know, I got some scripts that I wrote and yeah, developing some stuff. So I'm excited about it.
You know, like I said, you know, when you work with Tyler, you get to learn a lot behind the scenes. So, you know, do you think his directing style and the fast pace is good for the industry? Especially when knowing you came out of it?
You know, I think it's good for Tyler. Tyler has mastered what he does. I don't think I would work that way. I like to take my time and make sure everything is, you know, how I want it to be. But Tyler, you know, his mind works so fast. It's just like he knows exactly what he wants. He knows his shots. So it's kind of like second nature for him. Whereas me, I gotta take my time. So I guess it's, you know, it's different strokes for different folks.
Before I let you go, obviously, you know, now that it's back on TV and there's an assortment of stuff on TV now that the fall season is back, what's a good reason for people to catch up? Whether you've been a fan of the old show, whether you're a new fan, you know, throughout this whole time, everything old is new again. People can catch up. There's plenty of time for people to catch up on these old shows, even the 8 seasons before that. But for anybody else, you know, what's a good reason to start watching House of Pain if you haven't done so before?
I think it's something for everyone in House of Pain. It's a multi-generational show. You can sit down with your kids and get great messaging from it. And, you know, it's funny, you know, people love it. And you know, it's always good to see people of color on the screen, you know, people that you can relate to. So House of Pain is there for you. I think the audience will be pleased with this season. There's a lot going on, a lot of drama, a lot of comedy, and it's worth the watch.
Well, Lance, it's always good talking to you. Obviously, it's good to see you back on TV, and we'll see you again on a big screen one way or the other. You know, just keep doing your thing. We're here to support. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for having me.
Bye.